I'm excited for this video. Not only did the final illustration turn out absolutely stunning, but I get to talk about how I created this elf-like species from the story I'm writing. So, if you like cozy fantasy art and storytelling, this video is for you. Have any of you seen that Pokemon Lechonk yet? My fiance plays Pokemon Go, and there are always Lechonks around wherever we go, and I feel like these little things need more appreciation. Look at them. They're literally Lechonkers. I love them. Anyways, I don't actually remember when I first had the idea for this illustration. I know I've wanted to draw it for a while now. It was intimidating to attempt because I was drawing water for the first time in a while. I had to design a new outfit for a culture that doesn't exist. And I had to actually be happy with it in the end. The bar was high for me. But with patience and practice, I figured it out. So, who is this character? Well, she's one of my OCs. Her name is Gabriella, and she's a creature known as the Miss Rochelle. I previously made a video where I drew another character of mine who is the same species. I'll put that in the card if you want to check that out later. In my world, the Miss Rochelle are basically like guardian angels, and were created by the original king to defend humans from attacks they can't see from the big bad guy of the series. I don't want to spoil too much, so I can only say so much. There are two types of Miss Rochelle in the world. The High Miss Rochelle, which is what Gabriella is, who live up in the clouds and live for their duty of protecting people. Then there's who are known as the Miss Rochelle Adalet, also known as the Land Elves, and they reside in my world's land, which is called Maradlet. I myself am one of these Miss Rochelle Adalet. So you know in the movie Elf how the elves are described as creatures who have only a couple of professions they can apply for, and the most popular one is toy making for Santa. Yeah, the difference between the two Miss Rochelle is basically that. The land elves live as families to create more Miss Rochelle, and going up to the original Miss Rochelle land and fulfilling your duty as a guardian angel is considered the best thing you can do as a Miss Rochelle. It's very honorable. Gabriella here is a princess of the High Miss Rochelle. In the book I'm writing right now, it's the first one in the series, that one explains how she becomes the princess. So here's a little tip for everyone. If you want to create a fantasy world or just a universe that's different from your own, take an existing culture or tradition from a certain society, any society that you want, that you like their culture, whatever, and mix them up and base your fantastical society off of ones that already exist. This will help your world feel familiar and understandable while also making it inherently unique to you. For example, the Miss Rochelle language and culture is very much based off of Hebrew civilizations mixed with Atlantean fashion and aesthetics. I mean, if you think about it, that's kind of how cultures in real life are created as well. Like, people groups mix and, people marry other people and, they start new traditions based on the ones they already had. So, yeah. You guys should let me know in the comments if any of you are writers, because I love writing. I had no idea I liked writing until earlier last year. I had it in my head for a long time that I wanted to draw comics to combine my love for art and storytelling together. But as the years went by, I realized I just didn't enjoy long-term comic making. I won't say I'll never do it in the future because I do enjoy making comics sometimes. It's definitely fun to do on a whim and purely just doing it for for fun and the love of it. But long term, it's just not something I can commit myself to and not hate it, which sounds a little sad. But it's okay because I discovered that I have a love for writing, even when I don't do it for months at a time. But we don't have to talk about that. It's something I can do for a long time, long term, and not get tired of it. And I know this because I tried out writing like non-stop for a couple of months. I really damaged my wrist by doing that, and I actually had quite a scare last year that like my wrists were gonna go out and I wouldn't be able to draw or do anything, and it was really scary. So don't do that. You take care of your wrists, because that would be really sad if or at least you had to relearn how to create with, I don't know, your mouth or your foot, or come on, you know what I'm talking about. Relearn it. That would be difficult and hard. So just take care of your wrists so that you don't have to be in that situation. Anyways, as I was saying, by the end of those months where I was doing that, I was still bursting with ideas and had this insatiable want to just write and write and write and keep writing. Anyways, that right there is why I encourage young people, or whatever stage of life you're in, maybe you're older and feel like you don't have much direction right now, try stuff out. Like, just try things, all kinds of things, as much as you can. You might not know you have a passion and a talent for snowboarding unless you go snowboard, and that applies to anything else as well. I had so many years where I had no idea I enjoyed writing so much until one day I just had a random thought to write whatever I wanted to, and from there it just lit up my world. So seriously, try new things. Find something you can do for hours and months on end and do something with it. I think that will satisfy the creative craving you're having. So back to the drawing. I had a hard time with the color scheme. Like, I know that she had red hair and blue eyes and this kind of deep orange skin, but her outfit, and I knew I wanted the top to be white, but as far as the color of like this overlaying fabric thing, I wasn't sure what color to make it. But then I just thought about the color scheme of the drawing as a whole and was like, okay, we have a majority of red here. There's just a big old block of red. I think the next most prevalent color is blue. And then the third most common color is green in the lily pads. So I was like, okay, well, we'll stick to that color scheme. So even though I was kind of torn because like the Miss Rochelle, they are really into, okay, the magic in it, this all connects, trust me. The magic in this world is called Mura, and it's like this substance, this like honey like liquid amber glowing substance, and it's where all things get their magic from. So the Miss Rochelle, the fountain of Mura is in the place where they live, so it's a very prominent marker of their culture. So my original thought was to make their clothing and, everything based off of the color orange, like this deep kind of rusty red orange. But I didn't really like the way that it looked. So I had to reconsider. I should have tried making it yellow, like yellow with shades of orange. Oh well, I'll have to deal with that later. Anyways, I'm glad I went with green. I feel like it matches the color scheme really well and everything looks really cohesive. By the way, there's nothing that pink can't fix. Like, seriously, all color schemes, you just throw a little bit of pink in there and it makes everything so pretty. I always add like an overlay layer of pink or a soft light layer over the face, or like pink shading in the hair or somewhere on the clothes, and I don't know, it always makes things look so nice. So you should try that if you want, if you're having a hard time making your pictures look visually appealing. I feel like if your art is having a hard time being appealing to you, there might be a bigger problem. But anyways. Oh, here's another tip and something I did later in the piece. Take the whole thing, and I just made a new canvas and copied it over, and turn the whole thing to grayscale. So in Medibang, go up to, I think it's filters, and then I actually don't remember what it's called. If you go to filters near the top, there should be something that says either color or hue or saturation, and you're going to take the saturation and you're going to turn it all the way down, and this will make the whole thing black and white. And what you want to do is pay attention to the balance of light and dark throughout the whole piece. So, for example, wherever you want the focal point of your drawing to be, you're going to want to make that a lighter color than the rest of the picture. It's usually how you draw your attention to things. If you have, like, for example, if you're drawing a character with a lot darker skin, I would suggest making the background and everything around it a lot lighter, just so that that darkness stands out. But yeah, so with my drawing, I turned it to grayscale, and I noticed that there wasn't a lot of contrast between her hair and the water underneath. So I just took the background, the blue like water that she's in, and I turned the darkness way down so that there was more contrast there. It kind of faded into the background, and I was actually quite surprised with how much this helped bring the whole picture together. Like, that's not something I would have thought to do had I not, turned everything to grayscale. So try this out. It'll really help. Values really do change things, and sometimes it's really hard to notice how you should change the values in your picture if it's covered in color. A lot of people will start in grayscale first and put colors on top. I've done that before. I do prefer to paint with colors. I don't know, it's just what I do. So if that's what you prefer to do as well, then I would just suggest turning it to grayscale before you render. I had the bright idea of doing this after I started rendering, so maybe try doing it before you render, and that will make things a lot easier for you. I am very happy with how this outfit turned out. I almost didn't make this illustration because I had no idea what clothes I wanted her to wear. I had this really vague picture in my mind, but I couldn't formulate it on paper. So I followed my own advice that I gave earlier, and I went on Pinterest and I looked up Atlantis inspired outfits, and I kind of took a bunch of elements that I liked and combined it into this one illustration. So I really I think I pulled it off. I think it looks both like otherworldly and other culturally, I thought of Atlantis because me and my fiance have been watching the Pendragon cycle. We finished watching it because it ended a couple weeks ago or something like that. And the outfits of the Atlanteans is just peak design, so cool. And I was like, yep, that's exactly what this culture looks like. That's exactly what these people look like. So that's where I got the idea for that. So the Misra shell themselves as a creature species or whatever, some of their characteristics that mark them out are they're supposed to have this very deep orange skin. As you can see, this very much just looks like a white person. I don't know if it's because I have really light skin or what, but for some reason I don't play around with skin tones a lot. A lot of the times I'll either do just very pale or very dark. Those are the only two colors I know how to draw. So I want to start expanding more and drawing more, diverse color schemes of people, I suppose, because it makes for more, visual interest. So I struggled with that a little bit. I really should have looked up some references, but they are supposed to be a bit darker than this. Very, very peaches and cream, deep tan orange skin. And clearly I kind of fell off on that. But Yeah, I'll have to work on that. But anyways, that's supposed to mark them. Very lean, strong, tall build. I mean, they're like guardian angels. They need to be strong. They're usually very tall. And you can't see it in this picture, but they do have dove wings. Like, just very large, different colored wings. So, yeah. Have any of you gotten sick recently? I don't normally get sick. I actually have a pretty good immune system, I think. I mean, again, I don't really get sick. Like, the past multiple times that my fiance has gotten sick, I've been perfectly fine. But like a couple weeks ago, I got really sick. Like, well, really sick for me. I think it's just like got strep throat. My throat hurt to swallow. I was really scared I had an ear infection because like the base under my ear ached so bad. I think I was just congested. It was just stuffed. But a few years ago, I had my my eardrum burst from an infection. I think I had like the flu. That was bad. I was bedridden for like 2 weeks. But I was really scared. It was that again, but it went away. It was fine. It was people in my life that also got sick said they had similar things where their ears were aching and they were perfectly fine. So it was fine. Everything's fine. We're good now. So yeah, have any of you all gotten sick? I hope not. Getting sick sucks. It's just so annoying. Gets in the way of so much stuff. All right, here's the finished piece in all of its glory. I love it so much. I really stepped out of my comfort zone for this, and I think it turned out beautiful. I love the colors. I love the lighting. I like how glowy everything is. Oh, another trait that I really fell off on again is their skin is supposed to be like glowing almost. They're supposed to have like this radiant skin, and I think most of my illustrations, the characters look like their skin is glowing, so it just kind of looks like the same as all of my other illustrations, but it's okay. Oh, they also have pointy ears. They have pointy ears. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I post every week to every other week, so if you'd like to see more of my stuff, you should definitely subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!